Are the stars gateways? Is the sun a portal to beyond? Well, that is the implication of some of my recent research. So let's talk about it. This is pretty crazy stuff. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like. Please subscribe. Please hit the bell to be notified of future videos, and share this video on social media if you get a chance, and follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Links are below. And of course, comment below and let me know what you think about all this craziness. Okay, so a recent video on the Patreon page of Crypto Viewing is a remote viewing session that Dick Algier and Daz Smith, both very accomplished remote viewers, did on the Phoenix Lights. One of the cool things about remote viewing is you can go back in time and you can interact with the personalities that are present in some cases, which is a fascinating concept because you can deal with people outside of time and you can even interact with them. It's crazy, and that is actually a significant thing in the remote viewing that I'm about to share. I can't share the actual video because it's protected on a Patreon page, but I can tell you some of the contents of it. And I can also share points of corroboration with some other points of view, notably the Chris Bledsoe and the Lady story, and also the comments of the Israeli Brigadier General Ayim Heshed, who is one of their head honchos in the space program. So, yeah, let's just get into it. So, Dick Algier and Daz Smith were tasked with a remote viewing. Of course, they had no idea what they were viewing. They're just given some numbers. But it's the Phoenix Lights incident. And they are both able to see the ship. They are both able to see inside the ship. They see this giant open room, this giant chamber thing. And there's a central column. They're both able to see a central column, this huge column that may be some sort of power core or, you know, who knows what, particle collider, you know, who knows. Well, whatever this thing is, but it's they're both able to see it. And they're also both able to see the presence of Nordic beings, or Pleiadians, whatever they are, whatever you want to call them. These human-looking, you know, typically blonde, elegant, you know, aliens, or ETs rather, or whatever you want to call them, other dimensionals, whatever they are. The Nordics, very common, you know, being that is seen by experiencers. And, you know, whether they're putting on a human face or not, and they really look like something else, I don't know. But Dick Algier was able to see that it could transform its shape into a more of a cat-like being, a catman, as he called it. And of course, the feline races are also very commonly, you know, encountered by experiencers. These, you know, they look like lions or whatever, but, you know, they're humanoid. And that's so, and there also are many cases where people who have seen Nordics say that sometimes they have kind of cat-like features and, you know, eyes and stuff. They can look very human, but they can also look slightly inhuman. And Dick was able to see that this thing could actually transform from one to the other. So that was interesting. But he was also able to see that this Nordic being aboard this giant craft that was responsible for the Phoenix Lights was surrounded by smaller beings that may have been greys. So, and the Nordic beings seemed to be the boss, and the greys were lesser beings, if that's what they were. And he said this being had godlike intelligence, and it was clearly this higher being kind of thing, which corresponds to a lot of the information out there. The encounters seem to suggest that these might be higher dimensional beings that are incarnating here or can exist here, at least for a limited amount of time. But, you know, information on that is scanty. So, but what did he see? Why am I making this video? It's because he was able to interact with the consciousness of this being, which is something I've seen done before in remote viewings. It's rare, but it does happen. And this being had vast intellect and was able to respond to Dick and to interact with him. And he said some really interesting things. He said, your belief that space is three-dimensional is like believing that the Earth is flat. It is not true. And in one of his examples, the only one that Dick was really able to get from him, what did he mean by this? He says, well, for example, the stars aren't really stars as you understand them. The stars, say this Nordic being, are actually portals, gateways to beyond this reality, to higher realms. He didn't go into specifics exactly what awaited on the other side, but he did say their race used these stars to jump from star system to star system, and that's how they traveled around this universe, is by jumping through the stars like Stargates, literal Stargates. The implication seemed to be that they would go outside of this reality and then pop in through another hole or portal, which is another sun. Which sounds pretty crazy, right? The stars aren't stars. He says they weren't balls of gas, or that's not all they were. They were actually, a hole into source, or the higher realms, the heavenly realms, whatever they are. And the light that is coming from these stars, it may not just be light. It may be a holy light or something, some sort of connection to source or the higher realms. Okay, you say, Jack, that's some pretty far out there crazy stuff. What are you talking about? What are you smoking? Well, some good stuff, my friends, I'm telling you. But let's go back to what Haim Eshed, Brigadier General, extremely credible guy, extremely plugged into what is going on involving the beings and UFOs. One of their highest people in their space program, in the Israeli space program. And he said things like the Galactic Federation is real and most of the world leaders know about this stuff, and Trump was going to reveal it, but then he was talked out of it. And he said some pretty crazy stuff. But among the things that he said were that the beings did not think we were ready for disclosure, and we would not be ready until we understood what space and spaceships were. I thought I knew what a spaceship was. I'm open to the idea that maybe I don't quite understand space, quantum mechanics, it's kind of crazy out there. But he may have actually been referring to more of what this Nordic was saying, that, the suns aren't even suns, they're portals to the higher realms. And that is what stars are, according to this Nordic being. I'm not entirely sure if he was saying all stars are portals or simply some stars. The implication seemed to be all stars. So, and he was saying this in connection with, you don't understand what space is. Space is not 3D. So it seems like there's some points of corroboration there, right? Haim Eshed is saying that the beings don't think that we know what space is. And that's what this Nordic is saying. Space isn't 3D. It's much more complicated than that, and the stars are holes in reality. And their ships can go through the stars to whatever is beyond this reality. And maybe that's what spaceships are. Getting back to what Haim Eshed said. So that is one point of corroboration for this crazy idea that the stars could be gateways. And that was the end of the encounter, by the way, with Dick in this being. That's all he was able to get out of this being. But really super fascinating. So what other points of corroboration are there, you ask? Well, there's the lady. Yes, that's right. The Chris Bledsoe story comes back again. I love the Chris Bledsoe story. It's one of my favorite stories. We have NASA, we have the CIA, we have Lou Elizondo, all, vetting this story and taking it very seriously. Where this man who has a series of incredible encounters in his family and people they know, other people have seen the lady, but he has seen the lady repeatedly and has had some amazing experiences. She cured him of Crohn's disease, for example. Sadly, he was then afflicted with rheumatoid arthritis, which seems common among a lot of experiencers. That just seems to be an unintentional byproduct of encountering these forces, which is, kind of grim. But she did cure him of Crohn's disease and has given him many blessings. So what did she say that would be a corroboration for this crazy idea that the stars are not what they seem? Well, she says that the truth behind a lot of the reality of the UFO phenomenon and the shape of the cosmos could be found in 6 songs. One of those songs was Children of the Sun. Let me read you the lyrics for Children of the Sun, one of my favorite songs, by the way, by Billy Thorpe. People of the earth, can you hear me? I'm reading the lyrics. Came a voice from the sky on that magical night, and in the colors of 1,000 sunsets, they traveled to the world on a shivering light. The people of the earth stood waiting, watching as the ships came one by one, setting fire to the sky as they landed, carried to the world children of the sun, children of the sun. All at once came a sound from the inside, then a beam made of light hit the ground. Everyone felt the sound of their heartbeat, every man, every woman, every child. They guessed the limits of imagination to the door to the world of another time. So the timey-wimey stuff comes into play as well. And on the journey of 1,000 lifetimes, with the children of the sun, they started their climb. Children of the sun, children of the sun. No more gravity, nothing holding them down, floating endlessly as the ship leaves the ground. Through the walls of time, at the speed of light, flies the crystal ships on their celestial flight. Children of the sun. So those are the lyrics of the Children of the Sun, where you have these fantastic cosmic beings coming out of the sun to save humanity, uplift humanity, and even take humanity with them back through the sun. And this is, I think Billy Thorpe said these lyrics came to him in a dream or something. That is the case with a lot of this stuff, is intuitive knowledge from, from above or whatever. And the lady told Chris Bledsoe the truth could be found, or some of the truth could be found in these 6 songs. And this is one of those songs. Beings, higher beings, coming out of the sun. So, putting those together, we got some really interesting stuff, right? We've got the lady saying, essentially, that the suns are gateways or portals and beings come out of it. And we have, of course, the story of Dick Algier in his remote viewing session where he encounters the Nordic aboard the Phoenix Lights craft. And we have Haim Ashed saying that we won't have disclosure until we understand the nature of space and spaceships, which when I first heard that sounded pretty wild. I thought I had a fairly good grip on what space was. I certainly thought I knew what a spaceship was, but now I begin to wonder. So what do you guys think? Are the stars gateways to the higher dimensions? What are they, just balls of gas? Are they both? Is all of this too crazy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video and the ramblings of a madman, please give me a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. That'd be super awesome. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. Share this video on social media and join me there. I'm on Facebook and Twitter. I'd love to see you guys there. And yeah, check out some of my other videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.